Hi, everybody. Thanks for attending today's webinar, Dual Path Solutions from ipDatatel, Creating Success for the Future. My name is Jason Stegent. I'll be your moderator for today's presentation. A few very short housekeeping notes before we get started. Within this environment, you have the ability to personalize your webcast experience. One key thing, if the slide deck is not large enough for you, you'll see a min-max window on every single window that's currently up. Feel free to maximize the slide deck in full screen mode to view it optimally if you need to. There is no dial-in for attendees. You will be listening through your PC speakers. If the audio is not loud enough for you, make sure the volume on your PC is up, on the media player. If it's still not loud enough, headphones are recommended. And of course, there is going to be a Q&A session at the end of today's presentation. If you have any questions for today's presenter, send them in. We'll get to as many as possible as we can at the end of today's webinar. And then the Resource Center, you'll see a paperclip icon down below. You'll see a few pieces of content within that support today's webinar. Feel free to download those. It's great reading material, great learning material to learn more about ipDatatel. And then post-event, we are recording today's session. We'll be archiving this on demand within 24 hours of the live event. Be on the lookout for an email within the next 24 hours on how to access the on-demand version for safekeeping. Today's presenter, he's a friend of mine. I've known Ryan for a long time. He's going to do a great job. His name is Ryan McConnell. He was ipDatatel's first employee back in 2009. He's currently the Director of Business Development, has over 10 years of experience in the security industry, so he's a great fit to speak on today's topic. He continues to be focused on working with dealer partners to become more efficient by reducing their costs and reducing unnecessary service calls, while ultimately lowering customer attrition. He's going to do a fantastic job. Ryan and I participate in these on a monthly basis. Okay, so let's start out by, now that I've made the introduction, to Ryan. Ryan, tell today's audience, why are we here?
Well, Jason, thank you very much for moderating this webinar once again. I also want to thank our listeners for taking their time today. We have a lot to cover with some great topics and information to prepare you for the future. The real reason we're here is in a world of changing technology, there are constant challenges, especially as it relates to communications. We're going to review selecting the best cellular option between Verizon and AT&T. We're also going to discuss a lot about IP. It is future-proof, and it's going to be the future of most communications in the security industry before you know it. And then now, as far as the comfort level within the industry goes, I'm combining cellular with IP for a real home run.
Right, so Ryan, you've talked about communications challenges that the dealers are faced with. What are your recommendations regarding cellular technologies?
Well, if you look at the two major providers of cellular with AT&T and Verizon, I really break it down into this statement. There's a 10-lane highway. 8 of those lanes are owned by Verizon, 2 are owned by AT&T. And it's really simple. AT&T does not have the bandwidth to bring on new technologies while supporting older technologies. If you look at the 2G and 3G and 4G migration, and eventual migration to LTE for AT&T customers, the reason they keep having to sunset all those technologies is because they don't own enough. Verizon, on the other hand, does not live up to those same standards. They're much better. If you look at CDMA, 3G, 4G, LTE, and some of the new technologies that are coming out, there's plenty of room for growth so they don't have to take down these older technologies.
Ryan, what challenges do dealers face with changing cellular technologies?
Well, there are several challenges, one being selecting the right technology in the first place. What's going to give you the most longevity? The second being the cost of either installing or replacing older technologies. And also keeping the customer happy. That's another important piece that we look at. You know, if you look at customer satisfaction scores, they really want to pay you each month, know that their system is being monitored, and really not have you disrupt their lives. So that's one key piece that we definitely should focus on the most, is that customer satisfaction. The last piece is having the staff to keep the company successful. So if you don't choose the right cellular technology and you're put in a bind and you only got 6 or 8 months to do something with a sunsetting technology, it's going to be really hard to get out there and hit all the customers to make sure that they remain monitored.
Great. So, Ryan, let's talk about IP. So how can dealers future-proof their communications?
Well, IP is definitely the future. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's going to be guaranteed. The technology continues to grow, become faster, more reliable. There's minimal downtime. I mean, I can't tell you the last time I got home and couldn't hop on Wi-Fi or had any sort of interference. There's plug-and-play hardwired versions of products out there, especially from ipDatatel, where you really don't have to have networking knowledge. And now we've graduated into Wi-Fi via WPS, which is just a simple one-touch solution. And then there's also more accurate supervision. So if there is downtime or the system is not being monitored, you can know much quicker than you could with a cellular technology.
So, Ryan, if I'm a dealer, what can IP solve for me?
Well, we want to get you familiar with IP first and foremost, and just kind of a quick understanding of where IP is at in the industry right now. IP uptime, internet uptime, is far greater than it's ever been. In a lot of places, it's better than cell service, and you just don't know it because of the lack of supervision on the cellular network. IP is constantly improving. There's more supervision. It's really a sunset-proof solution. You can leave these communicators in the customer's home for years and years and years, and even if they change routers or change service, it's a very, very simple reconnect if they have to. It's fast and reliable, and it's easy to install. So as the new generation of technicians come in and are used to kind of those DIY, kind of quick, easy solutions, the products become easier and easier for these guys to install and get on to the next installation.
Okay, great. So, Ryan, let's talk about that next level of security, dual path. Can you expand on that for us?
Sure. I mean, it's the ultimate security. You know, you can't get better than dual path. If you look back 10, 15 years ago, I know when I was selling security systems, it was a cell backup. You had to have a phone line, but you could use some sort of cellular backup. Now the internet is really the new phone line, backed up by cellular once again. But it's redundant communications. The industry comfort level right now is with cellular. It really is not 100% engaged in IP, but should be. These redundant communications are going to provide more comfort and more flexibility for you. It's a consistent experience, both on the interactive side and remote servicing, whether it's connected to IP or cell. The feature set really remains the same. And the most important piece, and I really want to hit home on this, the last couple of years, everybody has been in a real frenzy about the 2G replacement. But think, if you had IP connected and for some reason some sort of cellular device was sunset or technology was sunset, you still have the IP connected for a fully monitored system, and it's not as big of a rush to get to the customer's home because it's just as reliable.
So if I'm your customer, Ryan, why should I choose a dual path solution?
Well, the dual path is the old belt and suspenders saying. You're much more reliable. You put your customer in a better spot. You put you in a better spot. So overall, it's a better buy for everyone. If the internet does go down in the customer's home, they're backed up by cellular. If the cellular connection is out, the internet will still run. So we really want to keep it simple for you and keep you with a future-proof solution such as IP and Verizon CDMA combo like ipDatatel offers.
Okay, Ryan, so let's talk about specific solutions that ipDatatel offers dealers.
So there's two products that ipDatatel offers with a dual path for communication, and that is going to be the BAT CDMA and the BAT CDMA Wi-Fi. The only difference in the two products is the way that they connect to the internet. The BAT CDMA is a hardwired internet connection backed up by Verizon CDMA. And the BAT CDMA Wi-Fi is a Wi-Fi backed up by CDMA. The Wi-Fi is a WPS connection, so it's kind of a one-touch, easy solution for you. But if the hardwired connection is available, we do recommend the BAT CDMA. They're both universal dual-path communicators, as I said. Simple, easy installation, kind of one touch on both the cellular and the Wi-Fi portions. The cellular network is Verizon CDMA. It has a universal panel compatibility, provides event notifications via text, push, and or email. And the great thing about these two products is they allow you to remotely service the panel. So if a customer calls in and says, my system is beeping, I don't know why, you're able to bypass zones, change user codes, change test timers, all of those things, as well as remotely arm and disarm the system via your smartphone, tablet, and or PC. Another great benefit of these products is they allow you to upload and download with our supported panels. In that case, it would be the DSC Power Series and Honeywell Vista Series panels.
Let's summarize some of the things that we talked about today around ipDatatel dealers and ipDatatel solution set. So if you look at this slide, we talk about knowing your communication options. So let's talk about that. So we've got cellular, utilize the best nationwide coverage with the Verizon network, IP, future-proof your communications with IP, and then dual path, which is the ultimate security with redundant communications. We talk about learn ipDatatel's product choices. We've got the BAT CDMA and the BAT CDMA Wi-Fi dual path solutions from ipDatatel. And then if you look at the third one, find the right device to fit your needs. So first, find out what features and benefits are important for you and your customers. Second, get familiar with the team at ipDatatel, which brings us into the fourth point of contacting ipDatatel today. So Ryan, with that being said, how can dealers learn more or get started today with ipDatatel?
Well, once again, I want to thank everybody for attending the webinar today. To get started with ipDatatel, simply visit ipDatatel.com. We have a dealer registration form that you can fill out on the website. Please feel free to email sales@ipDatatel.com. And we also have a wonderful inside sales team that can help you get started. Their number is 866-896-2944, extension 1.
Great. Real quick, I wanted to make 2 quick points, Ryan, before we jump into the Q&A. And by the way, we've had a number of questions come in from today's audience. If you have any other questions, send those in. We're going to spend about another 8 or 10 minutes on that Q&A session here shortly. A few more things. You're going to receive an email shortly after this webinar with links on how to access the on-demand version. We're going to send a link to the PowerPoint deck as well. So if you have any other folks in the space that you think could get a lot of value out of it, share it with them. Share this webinar with them, the slide deck, etc. We'd love to see them consume this content as well. So again, that webinar recording will be available within the next 24 hours, so be on the lookout for that. So with that being said, again, we've had a number of questions come in from the audience. Ryan, let's jump right in. Okay, Ryan, so first question. Mitch in Fort Lauderdale asks, in regards to the dual path, is internet or cell the primary path of communication?
Well, Mitch, thank you for your question. Internet will operate as the primary form of communication. If that connection is lost for any reason, cellular will take over, in this case being the Verizon CDMA, and that will take over within 30 seconds.
Okay, great. We've got we're going to hit about 5 questions today. So Tommy in Atlanta asks, Ryan, this is for you, obviously. I have customers in a remote area. Does satellite internet work?
Well, as big as we are based in Texas and as big as the state is, we have a lot of remote areas. So, yes, definitely. ipDatatel requires minimal bandwidth for the transmission of signals. And although it is a second or two slower, the satellite internet will still operate perfectly.
Okay, great. Then we've got a shout-out here real quick. Not a question, but a shout-out from Rick in Philadelphia. Rick just said, I've been using your BAT CDMA for the past 3 years for every install. Just wanted to say great job to the team at ipDatatel. Everyone is very helpful and knowledgeable. Thank you, ipDatatel. Well, thank you, Rick. Ryan, I'm sure you have something to say about that.
Yeah, hey, Rick, thank you again for the shout-out. That's awesome. We truly enjoy the partnership. If you have time today, I'd really appreciate it if you could snag some ice some dry ice and ship us some Philly cheesesteaks down to Texas. But again, glad you enjoy it, and thanks for the shout out.
Awesome. So we're going to hit about two more, Ryan. We've got Curtis in Riverside, California ask, I know the presentation is on dual path, but will my customers still have the same experience whether connected to cell or internet?
Absolutely. So whether on cell or IP, ipDatatel delivers an extremely consistent experience. So it doesn't matter whether the internet or cell is hooked up. Either way, you're gonna have a great experience with the product.
Okay, and I think this is probably going to be the last one we hit. Very short, sweet, compact, and value-centric today. So Butch in Dallas, Texas, I think everybody knows Dallas is in Texas, wants to know, if the alarm panel is not Honeywell, DSC, or GE, can I still use the dual-path products?
Absolutely. So both the BAT CDMA and the BAT CDMA Wi-Fi, being the dual-path communicators, they have all of the connections that you will need. So there's a tip and ring with key switch connection available, and a tip and ring with key bus available as well, all on one board for you. The only requirement that we have is that the panel has to be communicating contact ID.
Okay, great. I think that's all we're going to take, Ryan. Do you want to take any more, or do you think that's good enough for today?
I think that's great, Jason. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So, and one last reminder before we let everybody go, we have got we're going to get this again. It's going to be available on demand, not only within 24 hours. I would imagine this afternoon we're going to get an email out to everybody that registered. Had a pretty good group of folks today. So we'll get an email out on how to access the on-demand version. So for the folks that registered weren't able to attend, we should be able to get that on-demand link out to where they can view it at their leisure. So be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for promotions for the next ipDatatel webinar as well. And Ryan, looking forward to the next one. Everybody have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.